Let's get ready to build a mountaintop 7-foot by 7-foot porch. Hope you have your field guide open and ready. Our first step is to assemble the banding box. The banding box is made of pressure-treated 2x6x8s. You'll cut 2 of them to 7 feet long and 2 of them to 6 feet 8 inches. The banding box helps us determine where the posts will go. When measuring wood, use the speed square, the metal triangle, to draw a straight line, and an X to mark the piece of the wood you're cutting off. When using a circular saw, make sure the blade and the whole saw is flat on the piece of wood. Watch the blade to make sure you see you're cutting the line. Make sure to wear safety glasses. Line up your cut banding box pieces with the 7-foot ones perpendicular to the house and the 6-foot 8 pieces parallel to the house. Add one 16D nail or 3-inch screw to each corner to temporarily hold the banding box together. This allows you to easily move it around against the house and make adjustments as needed. Use your tape measure to measure the diagonals across the banding box. Make sure the measurements are the exact same number so that you know your box is square. Line the box up with where the homeowner wants it, either centered on the door or off to the side. If the ground is unlevel, use rocks and sticks to hold up the corners to make sure it sits as flat as possible. Once the porch's spot is determined, add 2 to 3 extra nails or screws to each corner to ensure the box stays together. Make sure to put the box as close to the home as possible. Now that the banding box is sturdy, hold it in place and use post hole diggers to mark the 4 corners where your posts are going to go. Once all 4 corners are marked, you can move the banding box to continue digging. Make sure to dig a little bit closer to each corner than where you originally marked to account for the spot the post hole digger could not reach. Keep digging all 4 post holes, being careful to watch for branches and pipes in the ground. Dig each hole to 16 inches to account for Tennessee's frost line. Once all 4 holes are dug to 16 inches, move the banding box back into place around each hole. Seeing the banding box in place may show you spots where the holes need to be dug out more or wider so that the post fits perfectly in each corner. Before putting your posts in, measure the height of the door if you're installing a roof to see how high the posts need to be in case you can cut before. Check with Mountain T.O.P staff before cutting your posts. If you don't have a roof, cut your posts to 36 inches above the decking for handrail height. Here they're testing each post, how they fit in the banding box and under the roof of the existing home to fit the porch roof added later. Again, check your post holes to see if they need to be widened to fit better. Choose a post closest to the home to use as your main post. Make this one fit perfectly in the right angle of the banding box and then move on to the other posts. Once you get all 4 in the corners of the banding box, you can start leveling them to add quickcrete. Use either a post level, as seen here, to check both sides, or put a level on each side of the post to make sure the posts are level. Add half a bag of 80-pound quickcrete to each hole to hold the posts in place for now. Repeat this process for all remaining posts and holes. Take a piece of decking and put it on top of the banding and under the door. Check that the banding box and decking is level and that the door can still open. Have everyone in your YRG help lift the banding box up while this piece of decking is still held up holding level, then have someone else add 16D nails or 3-inch screws through the banding into the post closest to the house. Move the level perpendicular to the house while still on the deck board to lift up the side of the banding box farther from the home to where it sits level. Once level, use 16D nails or 3-inch screws to install the banding box to the post farther from the home. Your banding box should now be fully installed and leveled. Next step on the porch is adding water to the dry quickcrete in the hole with the post to set the posts. The mixture shouldn't be too runny or too thick, about the consistency of brownie batter. This step can also be done later in the day once you have joists and girders up. Use a stick to mix the wet Quikrete all the way to the bottom of the hole to the top. This can also be done separately in a bucket. This Quikrete standardly takes 24 hours to fully set, but the porch can still be worked on while it's setting. The next step is adding girders made of 2x6s that help support the joists in the banding. If you're building a porch close to the ground like this one, dig a trench with a shovel for the girders to sit flat on the posts. If you are not using girders, talk to your Mountain T.O.P staff about joist hangers. We install girders with 5.5-inch long lag bolts. This is a 5/16 hex driver bit. Use an impact driver or drill to install. Make sure the girder touches the outside of the banding and the bottom of the banding all the way across, perpendicular to the home. The next step is adding 2x6 joists. Run your tape measure perpendicular to the house on the banding and mark every 16.5 inches on center. The very first spacing will be just 16 on center. This is where the center of the joist will meet. Make sure to do this on both sides of the whole banding box. Just in case your banding box has shifted, re-measure every individual joist. Measure from inside to inside of the banding, and remember joists go parallel to the home. Let the joist sit on top of the girders to make installation easier. Use 16D nails or 3-inch screws to install the joist, going from outside the banding box into the joist. If this project requires joist hangers, you would be using those now instead of girders. Check with Mountain T.O.P staff if that's the case. Now we can start decking, which is made of 5.25 by 6 by 8 pieces of pressure treated wood. Decking goes perpendicular to the house and is installed into each joist. Make sure each deck board is frowned down, meaning the grain at the end of the deck board is making a frown so that water can run off of it as it warps over time instead of smiling when water will pool in the middle. In this example, there's a mix of both. First, we'll notch around the post using a speed square to draw straight lines and measure exactly where the post hits the deck board. Each post is 3.5 by 3.5 in size, so you can use that measurement to help cut out your notch. On the edges of the porch like this, we like at least an inch overhang past the banding. Using the speed square, draw lines on each side of the post, then connect them and draw an X in the middle to show where you are cutting out. Use a circular saw to cut the 2 straight lines on either side of the post, going as far in as the top of the blade will go, not farther. Flip the deck board over and cut these lines again to hit your corners better. Do each side, then take the blade out and go diagonal from one outside corner across to the inside corner. Repeat this going the other direction. In total, you've made an X with your cuts. You can knock out some cuts with a hammer and then use a handsaw to clean up the rest of your cuts. The small triangle left over can be reached with a handsaw at an angle or a jigsaw. When installing your notch deck board directly to the porch, don't hammer directly on the notch board. Use a scrap piece of wood to hammer onto so you don't break your beautifully cut notch. Install your deck boards with 8D nails or 2.5-inch screws. 2 nails or screws into the board per each joist. As you install decking, you can put a screw or nail between each set of deck boards to help add a little bit of space for water to run through and for expanding and contracting of the wood. To cut a 4x4 post, use your speed square to make marks on 2 or 3 sides of the post. A circular saw cannot cut all the way through one time, so you usually have to make 2 or 3 cuts. This post being cut is for a hanging post, which is designed to hold a handrail on the deck and down the stairs on a porch. You can see in this video this post is not cemented to the ground. Instead, a lag bolt, like used in girders, would be used to attach the post from outside through the banding into the post. Make sure to install this post before you deck the same area. Here the deck boards are being notched again, the final set of posts, as decking has continued across the whole porch. With this notch, you'll have to measure between the post and the previous piece of decking to understand how deep of a cut to make. Once again, use a scrap piece of wood to hammer in that notched piece so that you don't break any of your beautiful cuts. As they get closer to finishing this notched piece, you can see the last piece of decking that will go on may not need to be a full 6 inches wide. After measuring what size deck board they need to fit that last spot, they put the measurement on each end of the deck board and used a chalk line to draw a perfectly straight line across the whole board. Chalk lines make it easy for you to follow the line while you cut all the way through with the circular saw. If you don't want to cut each individual deck board to fit on your porch, you can do the method shown here. A chalk line was used on either end of the porch to create a line for the circular saw to follow all the way across. There are many different methods in the field guide for doing handrails. They're always right about 36 inches above the decking. If a homeowner wants a different height, please check with their Mountain Top staff first. Handrails are standardly made from 2x4s. Mountain Top often uses rough cut 2x4s, so you may have to rip boards in half to get to a 2x3, 2x4 range. Measure and cut your handrail to length. Use 16D nails or 3-inch screws to install. Put one side up first, then use a level to level the other side, then add more 16D nails or 3-inch screws. Now in this video, you've learned how to build a mountaintop porch with decking and handrails. In a future video, you'll see how to build a mountaintop porch roof on this porch and stairs on another porch.